Now I'm just going to do the correcting of the models, the areas that I'm going to redo with some more contrast paints. So I'm going to do his toes. These little toe talon things. Talons? Claws? Toe talons. Don't think I'll bother with that ankle joint though, because I'm not sure if that's supposed to be a toenail. But I doubt that it is. So those three I'm going to redo with bone skeleton, skeleton horde, I think it's called. And then on this foot as well. A little bit in there. It's difficult to say, but I think, yeah, I think this area is all cloven foot, which means this area is as well. If I'm stuffing this up, I'm sorry to all the Tau players out there who are screaming at me going, no, that's not his toe. Well, maybe it's not. Oh well, done it now. I'll go over it with ultramarine blue again on this back heel, I guess. But it's difficult to tell what is actually just toe and what's other. Okay, so other things I need to do is this armband, a bit more water, because it's a little bit too thick. Okay. And then I wanted to do their hands again, because I've gone over it with green by accident. So I've actually done a pretty bad job with this model on my first pass. I was trying to be too fast and got sloppy, because if you're really good with this and take your time, you won't need to redo this, because I got to redo all these sections that I accidentally did with the green that I wanted to actually have brown on them. Okay. And yeah, this arm is also too dark for what I wanted. And I've been thinking about these on his back, these charge packs as well, what I'm going to do with them. And I think I'm going to do some bronze and maybe some silver on them, on like their connector points, So there's a little bit of metallic on this guy, because at the moment he seems fairly simple. So just doing that will add a bit more interestingness to the model. And I am hitting the light much less this time, yay! Okay. To his hands. So this, I should have shown it before. This is the paint that I'm using, which is the paint you need when using contrast paints. The base coat that I did on him before was a spray of Wraithbone. There's currently 2 sprays, Wraithbone and Grey Seer, and they actually give very different effects to the actual contrast paint. I might do a comparison video where I'll show, you know, like the same model covered with the Wraithbone versus models covered with Grey Seer. Just on that little bit of his hand just there. Okay, so anywhere else? Might do that again. Otherwise, I think he's pretty good to go for the the Wraithbone stuff. So I'll let that dry, and while it is, I'll apply the bronze and silvers. Now I'm adding in the bronze. Sort of just an earthy light bronze just into some of the little details, just to make him look a little bit cooler. And I know these guys are all futuristic techie type people, but they still use bronze, I'm sure. Because, you know, everyone loves bronze. I actually really like bronze as a just as a colour by itself. It's just vivid and lovely. That may have been what drew me to painting, playing Chaos Khorne Berserkers to start with. Oh dear. Well, that hasn't gone well, but you know what? I kind of like the effect. Yeah, I like that effect. Random choice, but whatever. It makes him look interesting. Okay, so that's all I was going to do for the bronze. And now I'll pull out... Oh, that bronze was Screaming Bell. And the silver that I'm using is good old Lead Belcher, wherever the title is for that, Lead Belcher. I'm going to use this for some of the connectors on the power pack that he's got. ammo pack, power pack, whatever you want to call it. Just to give him a little bit more life. And he's also got one of these on the butt of his gun. So don't want to forget that one. Okay, so I'm going to put a blob of silver on this bottom one, and the top one I'm actually thinking about doing some shining mithril in there to give him a gemstone effect, so that he's looking out of a camera. I didn't drop my paintbrush. You dropped your paintbrush. Okay, and a couple of tiny little things left. And get that in there. Okay. So he is now given a little bit of detail, which is already making him have a little bit more life. The wraithbone should have dried now, so I'll just grab the contrast and then we'll fix that part up. Alright, so I'm now going to do the skeletal horde that I keep talking about, which has, I mean, it's really good for bones and that sort of thing, so it goes quite well on wraithbone, funnily enough. It sort of has a more yellowy finish to it than the snakebite leather, and so it works quite good on anything that you want to have as claws or bones or nails or anything of that sort of nature. So but it's a bit lighter than the snakebone leather, which just makes it look a little more like bone than actual leather. With the contrast colors, I had to experiment a lot to actually get how they looked. The Games Workshop web page has, you know, what they consider to be a good contrast photo, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Gradients. The gradients showing the darker to the lighter edge. But because the actual base coat that you use has quite a dramatic impact on the final color of the contrast paint, I find those gradients actually not the most useful things in the world. Although, having said that, I fucking love the Games Workshop color app. That thing is bloody brilliant for color combinations and working out what's good to highlight particular colors, and also for keeping track of what paint you've already bought so you don't double up, which I guess is the whole point of why they made the app. But this is an absolutely shameless plug saying I love the goddamn thing. So but they have obviously not paid me anything to say this, because there's just me rambling on videos. Okay, so I think that was all the areas that I wanted to do with the green. And if I'd just been more careful the first time I'd done this and actually just done the areas I wanted to, this would have been much quicker. So But as I keep saying, keep calm, keep cool, keep painting. I'm trying to make it a catchphrase. Okay, so we're just doing this guy's shoulder. Trying to stay off the green this time. Now, if you end up with pooling, like we've got here, it's generally best to just empty the brush of any paint and then use the brush as a sponge to move it away. So that's just what I found is the best technique for removing it. Because you still want it to have some pooling, but if you don't want it to have too much pooling, that's your best option, because you can get the brush into places. An actual tissue or somewhere might be too broad and pick up too many things. So I'd like to, hear from you viewers and hear what you're painting about. If you post comments, I don't know, can you post links links to pictures in comments? That'll be kind of cool. And let us know what you're working on, what armies you're building, playing, if you've managed to actually play any games during this troubling period of our lives. If you have, naughty boys and girls, you should be at home not playing games. This is a great time to catch up on your painting and make some videos. Oh, is that what I'm doing? Maybe it is. But yeah, I am seriously taking time to catch up on painting that I haven't done, because I, like most people, have as big a pile of shame of models as I do pile of a shame of games. Video games on Steam or whatever. Okay, so I think that is all the areas that I re-wraithboned, although there was a little pocket under here that I had missed entirely. Okay, alright, so there we go. That is our Tau Pathfinder with a railgun. Pretty much, he's like combat ready. You could take the base, do some flourishes with that, but he is actually a perfectly serviceable model, ready to play and ready to kill people for the greater good. Yeah, I am going to continue highlighting him and doing some more interesting things, so please feel free to keep watching. But that is essentially all I'm doing with contrast paints. As we can see, we've got lovely shading, we've got some highlighting, and this has taken like a third of the time that my Blood Angel Terminator model took. And this guy is, I mean, he's definitely not as polished, but he is already looking pretty awesome, and I would not feel bad fielding him on the battlefield. Okay, Catch you later.